My beloved child, come closer and listen carefully to me. I know you did not expect to hear these words today. You woke up with ordinary thoughts, carrying quiet burdens, wondering if anything you have done truly mattered. Deep inside, there has been a question you barely dared to ask. Did I make a difference? Did God even notice me? And now I answer you clearly, without hesitation, without delay. You did it. You touched my heart. Yes, you. Not the strongest, not the loudest, not the most perfect. You in your simple, trembling human way. You thought your efforts were too small. You thought your prayers were too weak. You thought your obedience was unnoticed. But I saw it all. I felt it all. Every sigh you tried to swallow. Every tear you wiped away before anyone else could see. Every time you chose to do what was right when it would have been easier to walk away. My beloved child, those moments rose to me like a sweet fragrance. You have been walking through days that felt ordinary, even heavy. You have questioned yourself. You have wondered if you disappointed me. Sometimes you feared that you were falling short. But what you could not see was how your heart was shining before me. I do not measure you the way the world measures you. I do not count your worth by success, applause, or perfection. I look at your heart. And your heart, my child, moved me. There was a moment, you remember it, when you almost gave up. You almost stopped praying. You almost hardened your heart. You almost said, "What's the point?" But you didn't. Even in weakness, you whispered my name. Even in confusion, you tried to trust me. That whisper, that fragile attempt to believe, touched me deeply. It was not loud, but it was real. And what is real always reaches me. I want you to feel the weight of this truth right now. This is not coincidence. This is not imagination. I am speaking to you in this very moment because your heart has been aching to know if you are seen. You are seen. You are known. And more than that, you are cherished. What you thought was small was sacred. What you thought was unnoticed was celebrated in heaven. Let this realization settle into your spirit. You did not fail me. You did not disappear from my sight. You did not pray into emptiness. Your love, your effort, your quiet endurance, it all reached me. And today, I break through your doubts to tell you personally, you touched my heart. My beloved child, I saw what no one else saw. When the room was quiet and the lights were low, when your shoulders felt heavy and your smile faded the moment you were alone, I was there. The world may have overlooked your struggle, but I did not. I noticed the way you tried to stay strong for everyone else. I noticed the way you held back your tears so you would not burden those around you. And when those tears finally fell in secret, I counted every single one. You thought your silent prayers were too small to matter. You thought because they were not loud or eloquent that they carried no weight. But I heard every broken word. I understood every pause. Even when all you could say was my name, or when you could not form words at all and only breathed out a sigh, I understood the language of your heart. My beloved child, heaven does not require perfect speeches. It responds to sincerity. There was a day when you chose to do the right thing, even though it cost you something. No one applauded you. No one congratulated you. In fact, some may have misunderstood you. But I saw that choice. I saw the restraint in your spirit. I saw how badly you wanted to react differently, how strong the temptation was to defend yourself or to strike back. Yet you paused. You chose peace. That quiet decision touched me deeply. Imagine a small candle flickering in a dark valley. To the world, it may seem insignificant, barely visible against the vast night. But from where I stand, that small flame shines brilliantly. Your acts of obedience, your moments of kindness, your decision to keep loving when it hurt, they are like that flame. They pierce through darkness. They declared that your heart still trusts me. There were times you felt invisible. You walked into rooms and felt unnoticed. You gave your energy, your care, your patience, and it seemed as though no one truly understood the effort it took. But I understood. I saw the tension in your jaw when you were trying not to cry. I saw the way your hands trembled after holding everything together all day. I saw the exhaustion you carried to bed at night. And still, you tried again the next day. My beloved child, that perseverance moved me. Not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. Faithfulness is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like simply getting up again. Sometimes it looks like answering one more call, offering one more smile, whispering one more prayer. Those small acts are treasures in my sight. Let me tell you a simple story. There was once a gardener who planted seeds in a dry field. The soil looked cracked and lifeless. Others laughed and said, "Nothing will grow there." But the gardener knelt every day, watering the ground, trusting that something unseen was happening beneath the surface. For a long time, there was no visible change. Yet under the soil, roots were forming. Life was preparing to rise. My beloved child, you have been like that gardener. You kept planting hope in dry seasons. You kept speaking kindness into tense situations. You kept believing, even when the surface of your life looked barren. What you could not see is that your roots were growing deeper. Your character was becoming stronger. Your heart was becoming softer and more like mine. Nothing done in love is ever wasted. Nothing offered in faith is ever ignored. The world may reward noise and performance, but I honor sincerity and quiet devotion. When you chose humility instead of pride, when you chose patience instead of anger, when you chose trust instead of despair, I saw it. I felt it. So release the fear that you are unseen. Release the lie that your efforts mean nothing. I am your Father, and I am attentive. My eyes are not distant from you. They are tenderly fixed upon you. Every step you take toward goodness, every moment you lean on me instead of giving up, reaches my heart. You are not invisible, my beloved child. You never were. My beloved child, there is something you must understand about me. I do not measure greatness the way the world does. The world counts numbers, applause, titles, and achievements. But I look at something far deeper. I look at intention. I look at love. I look at the quiet movements of your heart. And it was one small act, something you barely remember now, that touched me more than you could imagine. You thought it was insignificant. You told yourself, "It's nothing." Perhaps it was a gentle word you spoke when you were tired. Perhaps it was a message you sent to encourage someone when you were the one who needed encouragement. Perhaps it was a decision to stay honest when dishonesty would have been easier. You may have dismissed it as ordinary, but heaven did not. In my kingdom, small does not mean powerless. A single drop of water can begin to carve stone. A single seed can grow into a tree that shelters many. And a single act of love, offered sincerely, can echo through eternity. My beloved child, when you chose love in that moment, you planted something eternal. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a tiny seed resting in the palm of a hand. It looks fragile. It seems unimpressive. No one would expect much from it. But inside that seed is life, hidden and powerful. Inside it is a forest waiting to rise. When placed into the soil and nurtured, It breaks open and grows beyond what anyone imagined. That is what your small act was like. You placed a seed into the soil of this world. You may not see the tree yet. You may not see the shade it will provide or the fruit it will bear. But I see it. I see what it is becoming. I see how your obedience in that quiet moment has already begun to shift things in ways you do not understand. You often underestimate the power of your kindness. You underestimate the strength of your patience. You underestimate the beauty of your restraint. But I do not. When you held your tongue instead of speaking harshly, you broke a chain that could have continued for years. When you forgave someone in your heart, even if they never knew, you released yourself from a prison. When you gave even a little of your time or resources while wondering if it mattered, you mirrored my own generous heart. My beloved child, I move not by perfection but by love. The widow who gives 2 small coins with a sincere heart moves me more than the wealthy who give for recognition. The person who sings softly to me in a lonely room touches me more than a crowd performing for applause. It is the heart behind the act that reaches me. You may have thought that your life needed to be grand to mean something. But I tell you this truth, the greatest transformations begin quietly. The sunrise does not shout, yet it pushes back the entire night. In the same way, your small, faithful actions push back darkness more than you know. There was a moment when you chose to pray for someone who hurt you. It was not easy. Your emotions resisted. Your pride resisted. Yet you did it anyway. That prayer rose to me like a sweet fragrance. It carried humility, surrender, and trust. That is what touched my heart. Never despise the day of small beginnings. Never dismiss your simple obedience. What seems minor in your eyes could be monumental in mine. I see the ripple effect. I see the lives you influence without realizing it. I see the strength forming within you because you chose the higher path. My beloved child, you do not have to strive for grand gestures to please me. Continue to offer me your small yes. Continue to choose love in quiet places. Continue to plant seeds of goodness even when the field looks dry. Those seeds are alive, and they are growing. My beloved child, your heart was tested in ways you did not fully understand. There were seasons when it felt as if I was silent. You prayed and waited. You hoped and watched. You asked for signs, for movement, for answers. Yet the days stretched on without visible change. And in that silence, doubt tried to creep in. You wondered if I had stepped back. You wondered if I was disappointed in you. Sometimes you even questioned whether your prayers were reaching me at all. The quiet felt heavy. The waiting felt endless. But I need you to know something deeply important. My silence was never absence. It was preparation. There is a kind of growth that only happens underground. When a tree is planted, the first thing it does is not reach upward. It reaches downward. Its roots stretch deep into the soil, searching for stability and nourishment. On the surface, nothing seems to be happening. But beneath, strength is forming. Your season of waiting was like that. While you saw no change around you, your faith was stretching deeper. Your trust was learning to stand without constant reassurance. And though it felt uncomfortable, even painful, it was strengthening you in ways visible blessings never could. There were nights when you lay awake, staring into the darkness, replaying conversations in your mind. You thought about what you could have done differently. You questioned your decisions. You worried about the future. In those moments, when you felt most alone, I was closer than ever. I was not ignoring you. I was shaping you. Tests are not given to break you, my beloved child. They reveal what is already inside you. And what was inside you was far more beautiful than you realized. Even when confusion swirled in your mind, your heart still leaned toward me. Even when frustration rose in your chest, you did not turn completely away. That mattered more than you know. There was a moment when you almost hardened your heart. You were tired of hoping, tired of believing, tired of being strong. The thought whispered to you, protect yourself. Stop caring so much. And for a brief second, you considered it. You considered building walls around your heart to shield yourself from disappointment. But you did not. Instead, you chose to remain soft. You chose to keep loving. You chose to trust that I was still working, even when you could not see it. My beloved child, that decision echoed through heaven. Softness in a hard world is not weakness. It is courage. It is strength refined by fire. Think of gold being purified. It must pass through intense heat to remove impurities. The fire does not destroy it. It reveals its true value. Your testing season was like that fire. It did not consume you. It revealed the purity of your heart. It revealed that your faith was not dependent on immediate rewards. It revealed that your love for me was genuine. You may have felt stretched thin. You may have felt as though you were barely holding on. But even your fragile faith was precious to me. I do not require perfection. I look for sincerity. And in your waiting, in your questioning, in your persistence, I saw sincerity. Do not look back at that season with shame. Do not think of it as a failure. It was a sacred chapter. It was the place where your roots grew deeper. It was where your character strengthened quietly. It was where you learned to trust my heart, even when my hands seemed still. My beloved child, the test did not break you. It refined you. And through it all, you touched my heart by choosing to remain faithful in the silence. My beloved child, there was a moment when you stood at a crossroads within your own heart. No one else saw the battle that took place inside you. From the outside, it may have looked like an ordinary day, an ordinary conversation, an ordinary choice. But within you, waves were crashing. You had been hurt. You had been misunderstood. Words had pierced deeper than you let anyone know. And in that moment, you had a choice. You could have allowed bitterness to take root. Bitterness is subtle at first. It feels justified. It whispers that you deserve to protect yourself by hardening your heart. It tells you that holding on to resentment will somehow restore balance. And for a moment, you felt the pull of it. You replayed the offense in your mind. You imagined what you could say in return. You felt the heat of anger rise within you. But then something quieter spoke within your spirit. It was a gentle nudge to pause, the whisper to choose differently, the invitation to respond not from wounded pride, but from love. And though it cost you something, though it required swallowing words and laying down your right to retaliate, you chose love. My beloved child, that choice touched my heart deeply. When you forgave, even if it was only the beginning of forgiveness, you reflected my own heart. When you chose to remain gentle in a harsh moment, you mirrored my nature. When you decided not to let pain turn you into someone cold, you aligned yourself with light instead of darkness. Let me tell you a simple story. There was once a small lamp placed in a room filled with shadows. The room had grown used to darkness. The shadows were comfortable there. But when the lamp was lit, even though it was small, it changed the atmosphere. The darkness did not argue. It did not fight back. It simply had to retreat. That is what happened when you chose love. In a space where resentment could have grown, you lit a small lamp. It may have seemed insignificant to you. You may have thought, this changes nothing. But light always changes something. It shifts the unseen. It breaks cycles that might have continued for years. You may not realize this, but your decision not to pass on the pain stopped something larger. Hurt often travels from heart to heart like a chain. One wound leads to another harsh word, which leads to another wounded soul. But when you chose forgiveness, you broke that chain. You refused to let pain reproduce itself through you. It is strength, my beloved child. The world often confuses strength with dominance or loudness. But true strength is the ability to remain tender in a world that tempts you to harden. True strength is choosing peace when chaos invites you to join it. True strength is loving when it would be easier to withdraw. I saw the tears you shed afterward. Forgiveness did not instantly erase your hurt. Choosing love did not mean you felt nothing. You still felt the sting. You still wrestled with emotion. But you brought that pain to me instead of weaponizing it against someone else. That choice honored me. Every time you resist the urge to become bitter, you protect the softness of your heart. And your heart, my beloved child, is precious to me. I care more about the condition of your heart than about any outward success. When you guard it with love instead of resentment, you are cultivating something holy within yourself. Do not think your act of forgiveness was overlooked. It was seen. It was joy. It moved me because it was not easy. Easy choices do not reveal character. Difficult choices do. And in that difficult moment, you revealed a heart that desires goodness more than revenge. Continue to choose love, even when it stretches you. Continue to resist bitterness, even when it feels justified. I am strengthening you through these decisions. I am shaping you into someone who carries peace into tense spaces. My beloved child, when you chose love instead of bitterness, you did more than protect your own heart. You touched mine. My beloved child, I remember the night you almost quit. You may think I have forgotten, but I have not. I remember the way the weight of everything pressed down on you at once. It was not just one problem. It was many small burdens stacked together, forming something that felt impossible to carry. You were tired in a way that sleep could not fix. Your body was exhausted, but even more than that, your soul was weary. You sat there in silence, staring at the ceiling or perhaps out a dark window. The world around you was quiet, but inside your mind there was noise. Questions circled without answers. Fears whispered worst-case scenarios. Doubt tried to convince you that nothing would ever change. And in that vulnerable space, a thought rose gently, but dangerously. Maybe I should just stop trying. You did not say it loudly. You barely admitted it to yourself. But I heard it. You wondered what would happen if you stopped praying. If you stopped hoping. If you stopped caring so deeply. Part of you wanted relief from the constant effort of believing. It felt easier to lower your expectations than to risk another disappointment. And for a moment, quitting felt like peace. But it was not peace. It was surrender to despair. In that fragile moment, I drew closer to you. Not with thunder, not with dramatic signs, but with a quiet strength that began to rise within you. You may not have recognized it as my presence, but it was me. It was the steadying of your breath. It was the slight shift in your thoughts. It was the small but powerful decision to hold on just one more day. My beloved child, that decision shook the unseen world. You did not need to conquer everything that night. You did not need to solve every problem before sunrise. All you needed to do was choose not to give up. And you did, even though your faith felt thin. Even though your confidence was weak, even though your emotions were heavy, you chose to endure. Let me tell you something about endurance. It is not loud. It does not always look heroic. Sometimes it is simply staying. Sometimes it is simply breathing through the pain and whispering, "I will try again tomorrow." That quiet persistence carries immense power. Imagine a traveler crossing a desert. The sun is relentless. The sand stretches endlessly in every direction. There is no visible sign of the oasis ahead. Every step feels like the last bit of strength is draining away. The traveler is tempted to sit down and give in to the heat. But instead, they take one more step, and then another. They cannot see it yet, but just beyond the next rise of sand is water. That was you. You could not see the oasis forming ahead. You could not see the answers aligning, the growth happening inside you, the strength being built in your spirit. All you could see was the desert. But you kept walking. You kept choosing to rise in the morning. You kept speaking my name, even if it was through tears. Do you understand how much that moved me? You did not persevere because everything was easy. You persevered in spite of difficulty. You held on not because you were overflowing with certainty, but because somewhere deep within, you trusted that I was still there. And I was sitting beside you in that quiet room. I was collecting every tear. I was strengthening your heart in ways you did not recognize at the time. What felt like your last bit of strength was actually my strength flowing through you. My beloved child, the night you almost quit became the night you grew stronger than you realized. You crossed a line in the unseen realm. You proved that your faith was not dependent on perfect conditions. It was rooted in relationship. And that choice, that simple but powerful refusal to give up, touched my heart more than you know. My beloved child, I was closer than you thought. In the moments when you felt most alone, when the silence around you seemed to echo, you assumed distance. You assumed that because you could not feel me strongly, I must have stepped back. But feelings are not always truth. Emotions can be loud, but they are not always accurate. I never left your side. There were days when you walked into situations that intimidated you, conversations that made your heart race, responsibilities that felt heavier than you were prepared to carry. You stepped forward anyway, even while anxiety whispered that you were not enough. What you did not see was my hand steadying you. What you did not hear was my voice strengthening your spirit beneath the noise of your fear. Think of a small child learning to walk along a rocky path. The child may feel uncertain, stumbling over uneven ground, focusing only on each difficult step. But the father walks close behind, arms slightly extended, ready to catch at any moment. The child may not always look back and see him, yet he is there matching every step. That is how I have been with you. When disappointment came, and you felt the sting of rejection or delay, you thought you were navigating it alone. But I was guiding what you could not see. I was blocking dangers you did not even know were ahead. I was redirecting paths that would have led to deeper pain. My protection does not always announce itself. Sometimes it works quietly, shielding you in ways that only eternity will fully reveal. There were moments when you said, "God, where are you?" And though you may not have felt an immediate answer, I was closer than your own breath. I was in the steady beat of your heart. I was in the calm that eventually settled after the storm of your thoughts. I was in the unexpected strength that carried you through conversations you feared. You often imagined my presence as something dramatic, something overwhelming and unmistakable. But many times I come as peace that does not make sense. I come as courage that rises without explanation. I come as comfort that gently wraps around you in the middle of the night. Remember the times when everything could have fallen apart, yet somehow it did not. Remember when you expected to completely break down, but instead you found yourself able to stand. That was not your strength alone. That was me, holding you steady. There is a story you may have heard about footprints in the sand. A person looks back on their life and sees two sets of footprints walking along the shore. But during the hardest seasons, they notice only one set. They assume they were abandoned. Yet the truth is that during those painful stretches, they were being carried. My beloved child, there were seasons when I carried you. When your faith felt too weak to stand on its own, I carried you. When your heart felt too bruised to keep trusting, I carried you. When your mind was overwhelmed with uncertainty, I carried you. The absence of visible signs was not the absence of my presence. It was the closeness of my embrace. Even now, as you listen to these words, I am near, not distant, not watching from far away, but near. I am attentive to your thoughts. I understand the worries you have not spoken aloud. I know the hopes you barely dare to voice. You have never walked a single step alone. My beloved child, let this truth sink deep into your spirit. When you thought you were surviving on your own strength, it was my grace supporting you. When you thought you were navigating blindly, it was my wisdom gently guiding your path. When you felt forgotten, you were being closely watched with love. I was closer than you thought. I am closer than you think, and I will never step away from you. My beloved child, while you were walking through ordinary days, heaven was not silent about you. There were celebrations you did not see. There were songs you did not hear. There was joy in the unseen realm because of your quiet obedience. You measure your life by visible results. You look for applause, acknowledgement, or at least some sign that your effort made a difference. But my kingdom does not operate by the same measures. In my kingdom, faithfulness is celebrated more than fame. Sincerity is honored more than spectacle. And when you chose to remain steady, even in small things, heaven rejoiced. You may find that hard to imagine. You look at your life and see imperfections. You remember your doubts, your fears, your missteps. You focus on the times you stumbled rather than the times you stood back up. But I see the full picture. I see your persistence. I see your growth. I see how far you have come from who you used to be. There was a day when you resisted temptation, even though no one would have known if you had given in. That quiet victory echoed loudly in the spiritual realm. There was a moment when you spoke kindly about someone who was not present, refusing to join in gossip. A choice sent ripples through the unseen. There was a time when you gave generously, even though your own resources felt limited. That act was noted with joy. Imagine a great hall filled with light. Imagine messengers standing in awe, watching as another act of love rises from the earth. They do not see a celebrity or a leader on a stage. They see you, in your ordinary life, choosing integrity. And they rejoice because goodness has once again broken through darkness. My beloved child, your life is not insignificant. Your choices matter more than you realize. Every time you choose trust over fear, heaven takes notice. Every time you return to me after doubt, there is joy. Every time you try again after failure, there is celebration. You often think that breakthrough only begins when something dramatic changes in your circumstances. But breakthrough often begins in your heart long before it appears around you. While you were waiting for visible results, I was shaping unseen victories. While you wondered if anything was happening, foundations were being laid beneath your feet. Picture a builder constructing a house. Before walls rise and windows are installed, there is a foundation that must be carefully placed. It is not glamorous. It is not visible once the structure is complete. But without it, nothing else can stand. Your quiet obedience has been building a foundation for blessings you have not yet seen. Heaven celebrates foundations. You thought your consistency was boring. You thought your daily efforts were repetitive and unnoticed. But in the unseen, each faithful step strengthened something eternal. Each prayer added another stone. Each act of humility reinforced the structure. There are rewards forming that you cannot yet see. Not rewards in the sense of applause or temporary recognition, but rewards of peace, growth, and divine alignment. Because you have been faithful in small things, you are being prepared for greater things. Because you have remained steady and private, you are being trusted with more. My beloved child, lift your head. You are not walking through emptiness. You are walking through a season where heaven is attentive. Your quiet faith has stirred joy beyond what you can imagine. And though you may not hear the celebration with your physical ears, it is real. Continue as you have been. Continue choosing light. Continue walking with sincerity. You may feel ordinary, but you are deeply cherished. Your obedience has not only shaped your future, it has touched my heart and caused rejoicing in places you cannot see. My beloved child, your faith was real. It was not perfect. It did not always stand tall without trembling. There were moments when questions filled your mind and uncertainty clouded your vision. But even in those moments, there was something genuine within you. And that genuineness is what moved me. You have sometimes compared yourself to others. You have looked at people who seem confident, bold, unwavering. You have wondered why your own faith feels quieter, sometimes fragile. You have asked yourself if it is enough. But listen to me carefully. I am not looking for performance. I am looking for authenticity. A child who runs into their father's arms without rehearsing their words does not need perfect language to be embraced. The child simply comes as they are. That is how you have come to me. And not with polished speeches, not with flawless belief, but with honesty. There were days when you said, "I believe helped my unbelief," and that prayer was beautiful to me. It acknowledged your trust and your struggle at the same time. It showed that even when doubt knocked at your door, you did not push me away. You invited me into your uncertainty. That is real faith. Real faith is not the absence of questions. It is choosing to lean toward me even while questions remain. Real faith is not never feeling fear. It is moving forward while fear whispers in the background. Real faith is not pretending to be strong. It is admitting your weakness and still trusting my strength. You may remember moments when your voice shook as you prayed. You may remember times when your mind wandered or when your confidence wavered. You may recall seasons when you felt spiritually dry, as if your heart was not as passionate as it once was. Yet even then, you kept coming back to me. You kept seeking. You kept trying. My beloved child, that persistence reveals the sincerity of your heart. Imagine a small plant growing in rocky soil. It does not have perfect conditions. The ground is not soft and easy. There are stones that press against its roots. There are days when rain is scarce, yet the plant continues to grow toward the light. It bends. It adjusts. It survives. Your faith has been like that plant. It has grown in imperfect conditions. It has stretched toward me even when circumstances were not ideal. And because it has grown through difficulty, it is stronger than you realize. Do not be ashamed of your questions. Do not hide your struggles from me. I already know them. and I am not disappointed. I am moved by your honesty. When you speak to me openly, when you admit your fears instead of pretending they do not exist, you invite me into the deepest parts of your heart. That is intimacy. There were moments when you felt unworthy. Moments when you thought, if my faith were stronger, maybe things would change faster. But my love for you is not activated by the size of your faith. It is rooted in relationship. Even a small seed of trust, placed in my hands, carries immense power. You do not need to shout to be heard. You do not need to impress me. You do not need to compare your spiritual journey to anyone else's. Your path with me is personal. It is unique. It is precious. My beloved child, your faith may feel simple, but it is sincere. And sincerity touches my heart. Continue to come to me as you are. Continue to speak honestly. Continue to lean toward me, even if your steps feel small. I am not measuring you against others. I am cherishing the realness of your heart. And that real, imperfect, honest faith is more than enough for me. My beloved child, there was a sacred moment when you surrendered. It did not happen in a grand cathedral. It was not announced with trumpets. It happened quietly, perhaps in your room, perhaps in your car, perhaps in the stillness of your thoughts. You reached the end of your own understanding. You realized you could not control every outcome. You could not force every door to open. And with trembling honesty, you whispered, "Your will, not mine." That whisper moved heaven. Surrender is not weakness. It is trust at its deepest level. It is the laying down of your need to manage everything. It is placing your future into my hands, even when you cannot see where those hands are leading. In that moment, you release something heavy. You released the illusion that everything depended on you. My beloved child, I felt the shift in your heart. You stopped striving so hard to fix what was beyond your reach. You stopped trying to carry burdens that were never yours to hold alone. You acknowledged your limits, and in doing so, you opened space for my strength to flow more freely into your life. Imagine a traveler carrying a heavy pack for miles. The straps dig into their shoulders. Their back aches. They are exhausted. Then finally, they set the pack down and allow someone stronger to carry it for them. The journey does not end, but it becomes lighter. That is what your surrender did. You may not have felt immediate fireworks. You may not have seen instant change. But something eternal shifted. Your heart softened into trust. You declared, without fully realizing it, that you believed my plans were wiser than your fears. That declaration touched my heart deeply. When you said yes to my will, even through uncertainty, you aligned yourself with a greater story. You stepped out of panic and into peace. You allowed me to guide instead of forcing your own direction. That surrender became a doorway for grace. My beloved child, as you continue to walk this path of trust, know that your surrender does not go unnoticed. It creates room for miracles. It opens space for restoration. It allows my love to reach further into the hidden corners of your life. And now, as this message spreads beyond just you, I am calling others into that same surrender. If this word has touched your heart, if you feel my presence moving through these moments, then do not keep this light to yourself. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description and shown in the QR code, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing seed into hearts across the world. I see your generosity as living water poured into dry places. As it is written, when you give, it is given back to you, pressed down and overflowing, and I declare that promise over you now. When you act, Say within your spirit, Lord, I am answering your invitation. This is your moment to let your obedience become a river of light. Do not hesitate when I nudge you. Move in faith. Those who sow into this work will see harvest in their own lives, peace in their homes, and strength in their spirits. Step forward now and give as an act of trust. My beloved child, your surrender has already touched my heart. Continue to walk in it and watch how I carry you forward from here. My beloved child, what you thought was weakness was strength all along. There were times you felt exposed. Times when your emotions rose to the surface and you wished you could hide them. You felt vulnerable when you admitted you were tired. You felt small when you asked for help. You felt fragile when tears slipped down your face without permission. In those moments, you judged yourself harshly. You wondered why you could not be tougher, more composed, more unshaken. But I was not disappointed in you. I was proud of you. The world often teaches that strength means never breaking, never bending, never revealing pain. But that is not true strength. True strength is honesty. True strength is the courage to admit when you are overwhelmed and still keep moving forward. True strength is allowing your heart to remain open, even after it has been hurt. When you cried out to me in your weakness, you were not failing. You were drawing closer to me. When you said, I cannot do this alone, you were making space for my power to rest upon you. Weakness that turns toward me becomes strength. Imagine a branch on a tree during a storm. A rigid branch may snap under fierce winds, but a flexible branch bends. It moves with the storm. It sways, but it does not break. Your vulnerability has made you flexible in ways that protect you. Your tears have softened your heart so it does not grow hard and brittle. There was a day when you opened up about your struggles instead of pretending everything was fine. You felt exposed afterward. You wondered if you had said too much. But what you did not realize is that your honesty gave someone else permission to be honest too. Your vulnerability created connection. Your transparency became a bridge. My beloved child, that is strength. You have endured more than you give yourself credit for. You have walked through disappointments, uncertainties, and hidden battles, yet you are still here. You are still seeking me. You are still choosing love. That endurance, even when accompanied by tears, is not weakness. It is resilience. There were times you felt embarrassed by your emotional reactions. You thought, if I were stronger, this would not affect me so deeply. But the depth of your feeling is part of the depth of your compassion. The reason you feel pain deeply is because you care deeply. And caring deeply is a reflection of my own heart. Do not confuse sensitivity with fragility. A sensitive heart can perceive what others miss. It can offer comfort in ways that hardened hearts cannot. It can sense when someone is hurting and respond with kindness. That is a gift. Yes, there will be moments when you must set boundaries. There will be times when you must protect your peace. Strength does not mean allowing harm, but strength also does not mean shutting down your emotions. It means bringing them to me. It means allowing me to guide how you respond. When you felt like you were barely holding yourself together, I saw a warrior of quiet endurance. When you thought you were weak because you needed rest, I saw wisdom growing within you. When you admitted fear but kept walking forward, I saw courage. My beloved child, my power is made perfect in weakness. When you stop pretending you are self-sufficient and instead lean on me, you become stronger than you ever could on your own. Your dependence on me is not a flaw. It is a doorway to grace. So release the shame you have attached to your vulnerability. Release the harsh judgments you have spoken over yourself. You are not weak because you feel deeply. You are not failing because you need support. You are becoming. What you thought was weakness has been shaping you into someone strong, compassionate, and deeply rooted in me. And that kind of strength touches my heart. My beloved child, I am responding now. You have wondered if your prayers were suspended somewhere between earth and heaven, waiting without answer. You have questioned whether your surrender, your obedience, your quiet endurance would ever meet visible change. But I tell you gently and firmly, movement has already begun. Not all answers arrive with noise. Not all breakthroughs announce themselves with sudden signs. Many of my responses begin quietly, like dawn creeping over the horizon. At first, the sky is still dark. Then a faint light begins to appear. If you are not watching closely, you might miss it. But it is there, steady and certain. That is how I am working in your life right now. While you have been waiting, doors have been aligning. Hearts have been shifting. Circumstances have been rearranging in ways you cannot yet fully see. What felt like delay was often protection. What seemed like silence was preparation. And now, because of your faithfulness, a new season is unfolding. There are conversations forming that will open paths for you. There are opportunities being shaped that match the growth you have experienced. There are relationships being strengthened and others being gently redirected for your good. Nothing is random. Nothing is wasted. My beloved child, I respond to sincerity. When you chose surrender, I responded. When you chose forgiveness, I responded. When you chose not to quit, even on your hardest night, I responded. The seeds you planted in faith are beginning to sprout. You may not yet see the full tree, but small signs of life are emerging. Pay attention to subtle shifts. A new sense of peace where anxiety once dominated. A renewed clarity in areas that once felt confusing. An unexpected encouragement at just the right time. These are not coincidences. They are signs of my hand moving gently but intentionally. Imagine a river that has been quietly building behind a dam. For a long time, the water gathers without visible flow downstream. But eventually, the gates open, and what was held back begins to move with strength. Your prayers have been like that river. They have been gathering. And now, release is coming. You may feel a stirring inside you, a mixture of hope and cautious anticipation. Do not suppress it. That stirring is a signal. It is the awareness that something is shifting. It is the recognition that you are not standing in the same place you were months ago. You have grown. You have matured. You are ready for what comes next. But remember this, my response is not always what you imagined. Sometimes it looks different than your original request. Sometimes it arrives in a form you did not expect. Yet it will carry peace. It will carry alignment. It will carry a sense of rightness deep within your spirit. Trust the unfolding. My beloved child, do not rush ahead in impatience. Do not try to force what is still developing. A flower does not bloom faster because it is pulled open. It blooms in its appointed time, when every internal process has completed its work. In the same way, what I am doing in your life is unfolding at the perfect pace. You are not forgotten. You are not stalled. You are not stuck in an endless cycle. You are in motion. Even now, as you listen, unseen threads are being woven together in your favor. Lift your eyes slightly higher. Let hope rise again. Not because everything is instantly perfect, but because I am faithful. I do not ignore the cries of my children. I do not overlook surrender. I do not forget devotion. My beloved child, I am responding now. and what is coming will reflect the depth of love and growth that has already touched my heart. My beloved child, there is a reward reserved for the pure in heart, and you have been walking toward it even when you did not realize it. Purity of heart does not mean perfection. It does not mean you have never struggled or questioned. It means that beneath everything, beneath the noise and the fear and the human weakness, your desire has been to remain aligned with goodness. You have wanted to do what is right. You have wanted to please me not out of fear, but out of love. That desire is precious to me. Many people can perform the right actions while their hearts are far away. But you have wrestled honestly. When your motives were mixed, you brought them to me. When your intentions felt unclear, you asked me to refine them. That humility keeps your heart soft. That openness keeps you close. Let me tell you a story. There was once a shepherd with many sheep. Most of them stayed close to the path, content and comfortable. But one sheep wandered more often than the others. Not because it wanted to rebel, but because it was curious and sometimes uncertain. It would stray, realize its mistake, and quickly look for the shepherd again. Each time it heard the shepherd's voice, it responded and returned. The shepherd did not despise that sheep. In fact, he watched it closely. He valued the way it listened for his voice. He appreciated that even when it drifted, it did not run away in defiance. It returned. My beloved child, you have been like that sheep. There were moments when you drifted into distraction, moments when your focus shifted to worry or comparison. But when you sensed my voice calling you back, you turned. You did not stubbornly resist. You returned. That returning is purity. A pure heart is not one that has never wandered. It is one that always comes back. You have guarded your heart more than you realize. When pride tried to take root, you questioned it. When envy whispered, you corrected it. When selfishness surfaced, you wrestled with it instead of feeding it. These quiet inner battles are not small. They reveal your longing to remain aligned with me. And I reward that longing. The reward is not always material or visible. Often, it is peace that settles deeply within you. It is clarity when others feel confused. It is a steady joy that does not depend on circumstances. It is a sense of being guided, even when the road curves unexpectedly. The pure in heart see me, not always with physical eyes, but with spiritual awareness. They sense my presence in small details. They recognize my fingerprints in everyday moments. They experience intimacy that cannot be explained to someone standing far away. My beloved child, you have cultivated that intimacy. There are times when you felt unsure whether you were close to me. Yet your desire to remain near has been evident. Your willingness to correct yourself, to apologize when needed, to forgive, to surrender. These are signs of a heart that longs for alignment, and that longing touches me deeply. Continue to guard your heart gently. Do not let the noise of the world drown out your inner sensitivity. Stay aware of your motives, not with harsh self-judgment, but with humble reflection. Bring everything into the light. I am not looking for flawless performance. I am looking for sincerity. Your pure intentions, even when imperfectly expressed, are seen. Your desire to stay close is cherished. And the reward unfolding before you is not only blessing, but deeper connection. My beloved child, the reward of your pure heart is not just what I will give you. It is the nearness you already have with me. And that nearness is a treasure beyond measure. My beloved child, life has tried to harden you. There have been disappointments that cut deeper than you expected. Words spoken carelessly that lingered in your thoughts. Promises broken. Efforts unrecognized. You have felt the sting of being misunderstood, the ache of waiting too long, the quiet grief of hopes that did not unfold the way you imagined. Each experience carried a subtle temptation. Close your heart. Protect yourself. Stop caring so much. You felt that pull. You felt the urge to become guarded, distant, emotionally numb. It seemed safer that way. If you did not care as deeply, maybe it would not hurt as much. If you built walls, maybe nothing could reach you. But you did something brave, my beloved child. You refused to let pain redefine you. You allowed yourself to feel, even when feeling was uncomfortable. You processed your hurt instead of burying it. You brought your confusion and anger to me rather than turning it into bitterness. That choice kept your heart tender. Tenderness is not weakness. It is strength under control. Imagine a field after a long drought. The ground becomes dry, cracked, and hard. Rain falls, but it struggles to penetrate the surface. Yet when the soil remains soft, even in difficult seasons, it can receive nourishment when it comes. Your heart has remained like soft soil. When my comfort flows, it finds a place to settle. You could have become cynical. You could have decided that people are not worth trusting, that hope is not worth holding. But instead, you chose to stay open. You chose to believe that goodness still exists. You chose to trust that I am still working, even when circumstances felt unfair. That tenderness moved me deeply. There were moments when you felt foolish for staying kind. You wondered if others saw your gentleness as weakness. You questioned whether your patience was being taken for granted. Yet even in those thoughts, you did not allow resentment to take over. You paused. You reflected. You returned to me. Every time you chose not to let pain harden you, you protected something sacred within yourself. The world can be harsh. It can reward aggression and celebrate indifference. But my kingdom honors compassion. It values mercy. It cherishes those who remain soft-hearted in a rigid world. There was a conversation where you could have responded sharply, but you softened your tone instead. There was a situation where you could have withdrawn completely, but you stayed engaged with grace. Those decisions may have seemed small, but they preserve your heart's integrity. My beloved child, do not underestimate the beauty of your tenderness. A river does not carve through rock with force alone. It shapes stone through steady, gentle flow over time. Your gentleness has more influence than you realize. It changes atmospheres. It disarms tension. It creates space for healing. Yes, there will be times when boundaries are necessary. Softness does not mean allowing harm. It means responding wisely rather than reacting impulsively. You have been learning that balance, how to protect your peace without closing your heart entirely. I am proud of the way you have navigated these lessons. Every hardship that tried to harden you instead deepened your compassion. Every disappointment that could have turned you cold instead made you more understanding toward others who struggle. Your tenderness has become a channel through which my love flows. My beloved child, continue to guard that softness. Do not trade it for temporary protection. Do not let the actions of others convince you to abandon your true nature. Your heart reflects mine when it remains gentle. You have been refined, not hardened. Strengthened, not closed. And that enduring tenderness has touched my heart in ways words can barely express. My beloved child, I remember every sacrifice. Nothing you have given in love has escaped my notice. Not the time you offered when you were already tired. Not the patience you extended when your own heart needed comfort. Not the resources you shared when you could have kept them for yourself. I have seen it all, and I hold it close. There were moments when giving felt costly. You smiled when you wanted to rest. You listened when you wanted to speak. You showed up when it would have been easier to withdraw. Sometimes you wondered if anyone truly understood the effort it required. Sometimes you questioned whether it even mattered. It mattered to me. Sacrifice is rarely dramatic. It often looks like quiet choices made in ordinary settings. It is the decision to prioritize love over convenience. It is the willingness to pour out even when you feel only partially filled. And each time you did that, you mirrored my own heart. Imagine a candle burning in a dark room. As it gives light, it slowly consumes itself. The wax melts. A widow. From the outside, it may seem like loss, but in truth, the candle fulfills its purpose by giving. Your sacrifices have been like that light. They have illuminated spaces you may never fully see. There were times when you gave without receiving immediate gratitude. Acts of kindness went unnoticed. Efforts were misunderstood. You may have felt invisible in your generosity. But generosity that is unseen by people is often treasured most by me. My beloved child, I am not unjust. I do not overlook love. Every seed sown in sincerity carries potential for harvest. Even if the harvest looks different than you expected, it will come. You have sacrificed pride by apologizing first. You have sacrificed comfort by stepping into uncomfortable growth. You have sacrificed control by surrendering outcomes to me. These are not small offerings. They are sacred. There were seasons when you felt stretched thin because you were giving in many directions at once. Family, work, friendships, responsibilities. You tried to hold it all together. You wondered if your effort was enough. You worried that you were failing someone. Yet in the middle of that tension, you kept choosing to care. That caring heart is a reflection of me. But listen closely, my beloved child. Sacrifice does not mean depletion. I do not call you to empty yourself beyond restoration. Even as I honor your giving, I also call you to receive. A well that only pours out without being refilled will run dry. Come to me and be replenished. The sacrifices you made were not meant to exhaust you but to shape you. They have refined your character. They have deepened your empathy. They have strengthened your endurance. They have revealed a capacity within you that you did not know you possessed. Think of a farmer who plants seeds in faith. For a time, it seems like loss. The seed disappears into the soil, but beneath the surface transformation begins. Roots take hold. Life forms quietly. In time, what looked like loss becomes abundance. Your sacrifices are seeds. Some will return as blessings in this lifetime, restored relationships, unexpected provision, opportunities aligned with your growth. Others will bear fruit in ways that ripple beyond what you can trace. But none of them are wasted. I also remember the sacrifices you made that no one else knows about. The silent prayers for others. The dreams you postponed. The habits you changed to grow healthier. The private battles you fought to become better. These offerings are precious to me. My beloved child, do not grow weary in doing good. Even when the reward feels delayed, trust that I am faithful. What you have poured out in love will not vanish into emptiness. It is stored, honored, and woven into your future. You have given more than you realize. And every sacrifice, offered with sincerity, has touched my heart. My beloved child, the delay was not rejection. There were moments when you interpreted waiting as denial. You prayed with expectation, and when the answer did not arrive in your timing, you assumed it meant no. You wondered if you had misheard me. You questioned whether you had disappointed me. You feared that perhaps you were being overlooked. But I need you to understand this deeply. Delay is often preparation, not punishment. Think of a gardener who plants a seed in the ground. After covering it with soil, the gardener does not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. There is a season of hidden development. Beneath the surface, roots are forming. Systems are strengthening. Life is taking shape in ways that are invisible to the eye. If the seed were forced to sprout before its roots were ready, it would not survive the first strong wind. My beloved child, some of the things you have asked for require deeper roots. They require growth within you and alignment around you. If I had granted them too quickly, they might have overwhelmed you or collapsed under pressure. There were doors you wanted opened immediately. Opportunities you hoped would appear without delay. Relationships you wished would resolve overnight. When those things did not happen as quickly as you desired, discouragement tried to convince you that I had closed the door permanently. But sometimes I was simply reinforcing the foundation. Consider a builder constructing a house. Before walls rise and beauty is visible, there is time spent reinforcing beams, measuring carefully, ensuring stability. From a distance, it may look like nothing is happening, but the strength of the entire structure depends on that unseen work. Your waiting season has been reinforcing your inner framework. You have grown in patience. You have developed resilience. You have learned to trust without immediate confirmation. These qualities cannot be rushed. They are formed through time and experience. There were moments when you compared your timeline to someone else's. You saw others advancing, celebrating, stepping into opportunities that you desired. You wondered why your path seemed slower. But every journey is unique. What is right for one person at a certain time may not be right for you yet. I see the whole picture. There are connections forming that you cannot yet see. Your circumstances shifting that require precise timing. There are lessons completing their work within you. When the moment is fully aligned, what you have been waiting for will not feel late. It will feel right. My beloved child, do not mistake silence for absence. Do not mistake waiting for abandonment. When a sculptor shapes stone, there are pauses between strikes of the chisel. Those pauses are not neglect. They are intentional. They ensure precision. In your life, I have been intentional. There were things you prayed for that I gently withheld because something better was being prepared. There were situations that did not unfold because they would have led you down a path of unnecessary pain. What you perceived as rejection was sometimes protection, and what you perceived as delay was refinement. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck in an endless pause. You are in a process. Trust the pace. The fruit that grows slowly often lasts longer. The lessons learned gradually often remain deeply rooted. The blessings that arrive in perfect timing often carry peace instead of chaos. My beloved child, I have not said no to your future. I have not turned away from your desires. I have been shaping you and your path with care. When the right time arrives, you will look back and understand why the waiting was necessary. The delay was not rejection. It was love guiding you toward something stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your destiny. And in your patience, even when it was difficult, you touched my heart. My beloved child, your quiet worship moved heaven. Not the worship that others heard. Not the moments when you appeared composed and strong in front of people. I am speaking of the private moments. The soft songs you hummed when no one was around. The whispered thank you in the middle of an ordinary day. The tears that fell as you sat alone, reaching for me without an audience. Those moments were powerful. You may have thought worship needed to be loud or perfect to matter. You may have believed it required beautiful words or steady confidence. But what touches me most is sincerity. When your voice trembled yet you sang anyway, that moved me. When you lifted your eyes toward me even while your heart felt heavy, that reached heaven. There were mornings when you did not feel joyful, yet you chose gratitude. There were nights when you were exhausted, yet you still spoke my name before sleep. Those simple acts were offerings. They were declarations that even when circumstances were unclear, your trust remained. Imagine a child drawing a simple picture for their parent. The lines may not be straight. The colors may spill outside the edges. But the parent treasures it because it was given with love. That is how I treasure your worship. It is not about perfection. It is about the heart behind it. There were days when you felt spiritually dry. You wondered why you did not feel the same passion as before. You questioned whether something was wrong with you. Yet even in that dryness, you kept showing up. You kept turning your thoughts toward me. You kept choosing to believe that I was near. My beloved child, that consistency is worship. Worship is not only a song. It is a posture of the heart. It is the decision to trust my goodness even when you cannot see the full picture. It is the willingness to thank me before the answer arrives. It is the quiet surrender that says, I still belong to you. There were moments when you sat in silence, not knowing what to say. You felt small. You felt uncertain. Yet you remained in my presence. That silence was not empty. It was full of connection. Sometimes the deepest worship is simply being with me without word. In those quiet spaces, heaven leaned close. Your private devotion has built intimacy between us. It has strengthened your spirit in ways public recognition never could. It has anchored you during storms. When challenges rose, the worship you cultivated in secret became your strength. Think of a tree planted near a stream. Its roots draw water continuously, even when the surface appears dry. Your worship has been like those roots, drawing life from me. Even when outward circumstances felt barren, your inner connection remained nourished. My beloved child, never underestimate the power of your quiet praise. It shifts atmospheres. It softens your heart. It invites peace into anxious spaces. It aligns your perspective with truth instead of fear. I am not impressed by volume. I am moved by love. Every whispered prayer, every song sung through tears, every grateful thought in the middle of difficulty has touched my heart. They have risen like a gentle fragrance. They have declared your trust more loudly than any public display. Continue to worship in your own simple way. Continue to speak my name in the quiet. Continue to offer gratitude, even when it feels small. Those moments strengthen you and draw you closer to me. My beloved child, your quiet worship has not gone unnoticed. It has created a bond between us that circumstances cannot break. And each time you turned toward me in private, you touched my heart more than you know. My beloved child, you trusted me in the dark. There were seasons when the path ahead was not illuminated. You could not see the outcome. You could not predict the next turn. You asked for clarity, for a sign, for something solid to hold on to. Yet instead of full answers, you were given steps. Just one step at a time. And still, you walked. It is easy to trust when the road is clear and the destination is visible. It is easy to feel confident when everything seems to align smoothly. But your trust was formed in uncertainty. It was refined in unanswered questions. It grew stronger in the absence of guarantees. There were nights when your thoughts raced with possibilities, most of them frightening. You imagined outcomes that had not happened. You felt the weight of responsibility pressing on your chest. Yet even then, you whispered my name. Even then, You said, "I will try to trust you." My beloved child, that kind of trust is precious. Imagine a traveler walking through a forest at night with only a small lantern. The lantern does not reveal the entire journey. It lights only a few steps ahead. The traveler must choose to move forward without seeing the whole map. Each step is an act of faith. It has been your journey. You did not have the full blueprint. You did not know how every situation would resolve. Yet you kept moving. You kept believing that I was guiding you, even when the next step felt uncertain. There were times when doubt tried to convince you to turn back. It whispered that you were naive to hope. It suggested that trusting without visible proof was foolish. But something deeper within you resisted that voice. Something inside you chose to believe that I am faithful. A choice touched my heart. You may not have felt brave. You may have felt anxious and unsure. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is walking forward despite it. You felt fear, yet you did not let it control you completely. You felt uncertainty, yet you did not surrender to despair. You kept trusting. My beloved child, trust in darkness builds strength that daylight cannot. When everything is clear, trust requires little effort. But when answers are hidden, trust becomes a deliberate act. Each time you chose to lean on me instead of retreating into fear, you strengthen your spirit. There were moments when you said, "I do not understand, but I will believe." That sentence carries great power. It acknowledges your limits while affirming my wisdom. It releases control while embracing peace. Trusting me in the dark has shaped your character. It has deepened your faith beyond surface-level belief. It has anchored you in something stronger than circumstances. And it has prepared you for blessings that require stability. Do not regret the dark seasons. They have taught you to rely on me in ways comfort never could. They have shown you that my presence is not dependent on visible signs. They have proven that even when you cannot see the road clearly, you are not walking alone. My beloved child, continue to trust, even when clarity feels distant. Continue to take the next small step. I will not lead you into emptiness. I will not abandon you in confusion. The same hand that guided you through darkness will guide you into light. And one day, you will look back and realize that those dark seasons were not wasted. They were the place where your trust became strong and steady. They were the space where your faith matured. You trusted me in the dark, and that trust has touched my heart in ways that will echo through your future. My beloved child, I am writing a new chapter in your life. You may still be holding pages from the last season, rereading moments that brought pain or confusion. You may be replaying conversations, reliving disappointments, wondering how certain pieces will ever make sense. But I am gently turning the page. The story is not over. There were chapters filled with lessons, with stretching, with quiet endurance. Some pages were marked by tears. Others were filled with waiting. But those chapters were preparation, not conclusion. They were shaping your character, refining your vision, deepening your trust. Now, something new is beginning to unfold. Imagine an author carefully crafting a story. Every twist, every pause, every challenge serves a purpose. When a chapter ends on tension, it is not to frustrate the reader, but to prepare for resolution. In the same way, the tension you have felt has been leading somewhere meaningful. You are not defined by the previous chapter. You are not defined by past mistakes, missed opportunities, or delays. Those experiences shaped you, but they do not imprison you. I am not stuck in your past, and you do not need to remain there either. My beloved child, new beginnings often start quietly. They do not always announce themselves with dramatic change. Sometimes they begin with a subtle shift in perspective, a fresh sense of hope, a new desire rising within you, a door gently opening where there was once a wall. Pay attention to these subtle shifts. You may notice that something which once hurt deeply no longer holds the same power over you. You may realize that your prayers sound different now, less desperate, more trusting. You may feel a stirring to try again in an area you once avoided. These are signs of a new chapter taking shape. But remember, new chapters require courage. It takes courage to release what is familiar, even if it was painful. It takes courage to believe that better days are ahead. It takes courage to step forward without carrying every old fear with you. You do not walk into this new chapter alone. I go before you. There are opportunities waiting that align with the growth you have experienced. There are connections forming that match the person you have become. There are doors that could not open before because you were still being prepared. You may not yet see the full outline of what is ahead. That is intentional. If you could see every detail, you might try to control it. Instead, I invite you to trust the unfolding. Let go of the belief that your best days are behind you. Let go of the fear that nothing will change. Let go of the assumption that the past must repeat itself. My beloved child, I specialize in renewal. Just as seasons change from winter to spring, your life moves through cycles. Winter may feel long and cold, but it is never permanent. Beneath the frozen surface, life is preparing to bloom again. You are entering a season of renewal. There will be growth in areas where you once felt stuck. There will be clarity where confusion once lingered. There will be peace where anxiety once dominated. And you will look back and realize that every lesson, every tear, every act of trust was leading here. Lift your eyes with expectation. Do not cling to old chapters out of fear of the unknown. The one who authored your past is also authoring your future. And I write with intention, with love, with wisdom. My beloved child, the page is turning. The ink is fresh. The story continues. And this new chapter will reflect the strength, tenderness, and faith that have already touched my heart. My beloved child, but touch my heart will now touch your life. There is a divine rhythm woven into creation, a sacred exchange that flows quietly but powerfully. When you move toward me with sincerity, when you offer love, trust, surrender, and obedience, that movement does not end with me simply observing it. It returns to you in ways that shape your life. You chose forgiveness. Peace will grow in your atmosphere. You chose surrender. Clarity will begin to settle in your path. You chose to trust in darkness. Light will meet you in due time. This is not a transaction. It is relationship. It is the natural fruit of alignment. Imagine standing before a still lake. When you drop a small stone into the water, ripples spread outward in widening circles. The initial movement may seem small, but the impact travels further than expected. Your choices of faith have been like those stones. The ripples are now returning to you. My beloved child, you honored me with your heart. Now I will honor you with my faithfulness. Not always in the form you imagined, not always in the timing you preferred, but in ways that carry peace and purpose. The compassion you showed others will surround you when you need comfort. The patience you extended will come back as grace during your own struggles. The generosity you offered will return as provision when you least expect it. This is how love multiplies. You may have wondered whether your obedience changed anything. You may have felt like your efforts disappeared into silence. But seeds planted in faith do not vanish. They germinate. They break open beneath the surface. They rise in due season. Picture a field after months of quiet growth underground. From the surface, nothing seems to have happened. Then suddenly, green shoots begin to appear. What was invisible becomes visible. What was hoped for becomes tangible. That is the season you are approaching. Because you touched my heart with your sincerity, you are stepping into a period where you will feel my nearness more clearly. Where doors that seemed sealed will gently open. Where burdens that felt heavy will grow lighter. Where joy will begin to replace long-standing tension. Do not confuse this with perfection. Life will still carry challenges, but you will walk through them with a steadiness you did not have before. The growth within you has prepared you to receive differently. When you were tempted to react harshly but chose gentleness, you strengthened your future relationships. When you remained faithful during delay, you built resilience that will support you in coming opportunities. When you worshipped quietly, you anchored yourself in peace that will guard your mind. My beloved child, heaven responds to hearts that are aligned. You aligned yourself with love, even when bitterness seemed easier. You aligned yourself with trust, even when fear whispered loudly. You aligned yourself with surrender, even when control felt safer. Now watch how alignment reshapes your life. Expect subtle miracles. Expect moments of confirmation. Expect doors that feel natural yet unmistakably guided. Expect restoration in areas you thought were permanently closed. But as blessings return to you, remain humble. Remember the tenderness that carried you here. Continue to choose love. Continue to guard your heart. Continue to seek me, not just for what I give, but for who I am. My beloved child, what touched my heart is now moving toward your life. The ripples of your faith are returning with grace. The seeds of your obedience are rising with fruit. You did not give in vain. You did not trust in vain. You did not surrender in vain. And as you begin to see the evidence of this divine exchange, you will understand more deeply that every sincere step toward me has power. My beloved child, the doors are opening. For a long time, you stood before doors that would not move. You knocked. You prayed. You hoped. Yet they remained closed. Some of them closed gently. Others seemed to shut abruptly, leaving you confused and discouraged. You questioned whether you were standing in the wrong place. You wondered if you had missed your opportunity. But I was guiding even the closed doors. Not every door is meant for you. Some are distractions. Some lead to rooms that would not nurture your growth. Some appear attractive but hide burdens you were never meant to carry. When I allowed certain doors to remain closed, it was not to limit you. It was to protect you. Now, because of the refining you have walked through, because of the patience and surrender you have shown, new doors are beginning to open. You may not see them fully yet. They may not look grand or dramatic, but you will sense alignment. You will feel peace instead of pressure. You will notice that what once required forcing now flows more naturally. Imagine standing in a hallway filled with many doors. In the past, you tried to push some open with all your strength. You leaned your weight against them, hoping persistence would make them move. But they remained locked. Now, as you walk calmly down that same hallway, one door opens gently at your touch. That is how my timing works. When a door opens from my hand, it does not require panic. It does not demand desperation. It carries confirmation within it. You will not need to strain to convince yourself. You will know. My beloved child, some doors opening now are internal. New confidence rising where doubt once dominated. Fresh clarity forming where confusion once lingered. Renewed courage to pursue what you once feared. These internal doors are just as important as external opportunities. Other doors will be relational. Conversations that once felt tense will soften. Connections that align with your growth will strengthen. People who recognize your value will cross your path at the right moment. And there will be practical doors. Opportunities in work, creativity, service, and purpose that reflect the person you have become. What once felt out of reach will feel attainable, not because you forced it, but because you are ready. Preparation precedes opening. Think of a key being crafted. It must be shaped precisely to fit a specific lock. Your seasons of growth have been shaping you like that key. Every lesson, every delay, every moment of surrender has refined your edges so that when you step forward now, you fit the opportunity. You are not the same person you were before. You carry deeper wisdom. You hold steadier peace. You possess stronger discernment. That maturity is what allows doors to open without overwhelming you. But as doors open, remain attentive. Do not rush through them carelessly. Pause. Invite me into each decision. Even open doors require guidance. Some are meant to be entered immediately. Others are invitations to prepare further. Listen for my voice. My beloved child, do not cling to old closed doors out of habit. Sometimes you grow comfortable with what did not work, simply because it is familiar. Release the past gently. Trust that what is opening now is aligned with your growth. You have walked through testing, surrender, and trust. You have allowed me to shape your heart. Now the hallway looks different. The doors are opening. Walk forward with calm confidence. Walk forward with humility and gratitude. Walk forward knowing that I go before you. And remember, every open door is not just an opportunity. It is evidence that your faith, your obedience, and your trust have touched my heart, and now they are shaping your path. My beloved child, peace is your portion. You have carried anxiety like a heavy cloak for longer than you realize. Even when you smiled, even when you accomplished tasks and fulfilled responsibilities, there was often a quiet tension beneath the surface, a constant calculating, a silent wondering about what might go wrong. Your mind has worked tirelessly, trying to anticipate every outcome, trying to protect you from disappointment. But I am gently lifting that weight from you. Peace is not the absence of responsibility. It is not pretending that challenges do not exist. Peace is the steady assurance that you are not navigating life alone. It is the calm that flows when you trust that I am holding what you cannot control. Imagine a child asleep during a storm. The thunder rumbles. Rain beats against the windows. The wind shakes the trees outside. Yet the child sleeps peacefully, not because the storm has disappeared, but because they trust the one who watches over them. That is the peace I am offering you. My beloved child, you do not need to monitor every possible future. You do not need to solve tomorrow before it arrives. You do not need to carry burdens that belong in my hands. There have been nights when your thoughts would not slow down. You replayed conversations. You imagined scenarios. You tried to plan for every possibility. And though planning has its place, worry has quietly drained your strength. It has whispered that everything depends on you. It does not. Release the illusion of control. Release the pressure to have every answer. Release the fear that if you stop worrying, something will fall apart. Worry is not what sustains your life. I am. Peace begins with surrender. When you exhale and say, I trust you with this, something shifts inside you. The tightness in your chest loosens. The noise in your mind softens. The urgency fades. You remember that you are not alone in your decisions, your responsibilities, or your future. My beloved child, I want you to walk differently now. Not rushed, not frantic, not bracing for disaster. Walk with steadiness. Walk with quiet confidence. Walk knowing that I am guiding you step by step. Peace does not mean there will be no challenges ahead, but it means challenges will not define you. It means difficulty will not steal your inner stability. It means that even in uncertain moments, you will feel anchored. Think of a boat secured firmly to a dock. The water may move. Waves may rock gently or strongly, but the rope holds the boat steady. My presence is that anchor for you. Circumstances may shift, but you remain held. Begin to practice stillness. Pause during your day and breathe. Whisper my name when anxiety begins to rise. Remind yourself that you are cared for. Let gratitude interrupt worry. Let trust replace overthinking. Peace is not something you must earn. It is something you receive. I am not asking you to be careless. I am inviting you to be calm. There is a difference. Calmness rooted in trust allows you to think clearly, respond wisely, and move forward without panic. My beloved child, you have carried enough tension. You have endured enough uncertainty. Now, step into rest. Allow my peace to settle deeply within you. Let it guard your thoughts. Let it steady your emotions. Let it reshape how you approach each day. Peace is your portion, not temporary relief, but a steady undercurrent beneath your life. Accept it. Walk in it. And as you do, you will discover that the calm you carry will also touch those around you. And in that calm, you will continue to touch my heart. My beloved child, I am healing the hidden places within you. There are wounds you do not speak about easily. Memories that still carry a quiet ache. Moments from your past that shaped how you see yourself, how you trust others, how you expect the future to unfold. Some of those experiences were sudden and sharp. Others were slow and subtle, repeated disappointments that gradually left marks on your heart. You learned to cope. You learned to function. You learned to move forward. But healing is deeper than functioning. I see the hidden places. I see the insecurity that sometimes whispers you are not enough. I see the fear of being overlooked or misunderstood. I see the hesitation that rises before you open your heart fully. None of it surprises me. None of it causes me to pull away. Imagine a skilled physician examining an injury beneath the surface. The wound may not be visible to others, but it still requires attention. Healing does not happen by pretending the pain is not there. It begins with gentle exposure to light and careful care. My beloved child, I am bringing light into those hidden spaces, not to shame you, not to accuse you, but to restore you. There are lies that have tried to attach themselves to your identity. Lies that say you are unworthy. Lies that say you will always be stuck. Lies that say your past defines your future. I am gently removing those lies and replacing them with truth. You are loved. You are chosen. You are not disqualified by your history. Some healing happens gradually. It is not always dramatic. You may not wake up one morning feeling completely transformed. Instead, you will notice subtle changes. A trigger that once overwhelmed you now carries less power. A memory that once brought sharp pain now feels softer. A fear that once controlled your decisions begins to loosen its grip. This is my healing work. Picture a cracked piece of pottery carefully restored. The cracks do not disappear entirely, but they are filled with gold. What was once broken becomes uniquely beautiful. Your scars are not evidence of failure. They are places where my grace can shine most clearly. My beloved child, allow yourself to receive this healing. Do not rush it. Do not resist it. Do not believe that strength means ignoring your wounds. True strength is allowing restoration to take place. There may be conversations I prompt you to have. There may be habits I gently encourage you to release. There may be boundaries I ask you to establish. All of these are part of your healing journey. You are not fragile. You are becoming whole. Wholeness does not mean perfection. It means integration. It means the parts of you that once felt fragmented are being gathered together in peace. It means your past no longer controls your present reactions. It means you can move forward without carrying unnecessary weight. I am patient with you. Healing takes time. Growth takes time. But I am not in a hurry to finish you. I am committed to restoring you fully. My beloved child, trust the process. Trust the gentle shifts. Trust the peace that begins to settle where chaos once lived. Trust the courage that rises when you face old fears. You are not defined by your wounds. You are defined by my love. And as I heal the hidden places within you, you will discover a deeper freedom. You will walk lighter. You will love more openly. You will trust more confidently. This restoration is not only for you. It will flow through you. Your healed heart will bring comfort to others. Your testimony of quiet renewal will inspire hope. But for now, simply receive. Let me touch the places you have guarded. Let me soothe the memories that still ache. Let me rewrite the story you have been telling yourself about who you are. My beloved child, I am healing you from the inside out, and every step toward wholeness continues to touch my heart. My beloved child, your name is spoken in heaven. You may feel like one voice among many on earth, one story among billions, one life moving quietly through ordinary routines. But in my presence, you are not lost in a crowd. You are known intimately. Your name is not just a label. It carries meaning, history, purpose, and promise. When I speak your name, I do not speak it with disappointment. I do not speak it with hesitation. I speak it with delight. There have been moments when you questioned your identity. You wondered who you truly are beneath your responsibilities, your roles, your successes, and your struggles. You asked yourself whether you measure up. You compared your journey to others and sometimes felt smaller. But I do not define you by comparison. I define you by creation. Before you took your first breath, I knew you. Before you made your first mistake, I love you. Before you achieved anything, you were already valued. Your worth was never dependent on performance. Imagine a father in a large crowd calling out for his child. The moment he sees them, his face lights up. Not because of what the child has accomplished that day, but simply because they belong to him. That is how I see you. My beloved child, you belong to me. Your identity is not rooted in your failures. It is not anchored in your past. It is not determined by how others have labeled you. It is grounded in my love and intention. There were seasons when harsh words tried to shape how you see yourself. Perhaps someone told you that you were not enough. Perhaps you internalized criticism and carried it longer than necessary. Perhaps you have been your own harshest critic. But my voice speaks louder. You are chosen. You are treasured. You are called by name. When heaven speaks of you, it is not with accusation. It is with affection. There is joy in your growth. There is celebration in your perseverance. There is pride in your tenderness and your sincerity. Picture your name written not in fading ink, but engraved with care. He is not easily erased. He is not forgotten in time. It is secure. That security frees you from striving. You do not need to chase approval endlessly. You do not need to exhaust yourself proving your value. You do not need to hide your flaws in fear of rejection. Your identity is already established. My beloved child, when you begin to see yourself as I see you, something shifts. You walk with quiet confidence instead of constant comparison. You speak with authenticity instead of fear. You rest in assurance instead of insecurity. There is a unique purpose attached to your name, a calling that reflects your personality, your experiences, your strengths, and even the challenges you have overcome. You are not an accident. You are not random. You were designed intentionally. The world may overlook you at times. It may misunderstand you. It may fail to recognize your value. But heaven does not. Every time you choose love, your name shines brighter. Every time you trust me, your identity grows stronger. Every time you rise after falling, your story gains depth. My beloved child, let this truth settle deeply within you. You are known, fully and completely. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not merely surviving unnoticed. Your name is spoken with affection in heaven. Your life carries meaning beyond what you can currently see. Your identity is secure in my love. Walk forward with that assurance. Let it reshape how you view yourself. Let it quiet the voices of doubt. Let it anchor you when insecurity tries to rise. You are mine. And that is the truest, strongest identity you will ever need. My beloved child, the tears you cried have watered your future. You remember the moments when emotion overwhelmed you, when you tried to stay composed but the weight became too much, when tears fell not because you were weak but because you cared deeply. You may have felt embarrassed by them. You may have wiped them away quickly, hoping no one would notice. But I noticed. Tears are not signs of failure. They are evidence of depth. There were tears of frustration when progress felt slow. Tears of disappointment when expectations were not met. Tears of grief over what was lost. Tears of longing for what has not yet arrived. Each tear carried a prayer within it, even when no words were spoken. Imagine a field during a dry season. The ground is cracked, waiting for rain. When water finally touches the soil, it does not disappear uselessly. It sinks in. It nourishes seeds that have been lying dormant. It awakens growth that seemed impossible. Your tears have been like that rain. You thought they were only signs of pain, but they have softened the ground of your heart. They have kept you tender instead of ardent. They have watered seeds of compassion, patience, and resilience. My beloved child, there are harvests forming that you cannot yet see. The tears you cried while praying for someone else have watered their breakthrough. The tears you shed while surrendering your own plans have prepared space for better ones. The tears you released in loneliness have deepened your empathy, equipping you to comfort others in ways few can. You have not suffered in vain. There is a sacred exchange that happens when sorrow meets trust. When you bring your tears to me instead of turning them into bitterness, something holy takes place. Your pain becomes fertile ground for growth. Picture a farmer walking through his field after rain. He does not curse the water because it made the ground muddy. He knows that without rain, there is no harvest. In the same way, without those emotional rains in your life, certain strengths would never have developed. You have grown roots in places you once thought you would break. You have learned to lean on me in deeper ways because of what hurt you. You have discovered inner strength because of what challenged you. You have developed compassion because you know what it feels like to struggle. My beloved child, do not despise your tears. They are not signs that you are falling apart. They are signs that you are alive, that your heart is engaged, that you are not numb. And in your willingness to feel, you have allowed transformation to happen. There will come a day when you look at the harvest and recognize the connection. You will see peace where anxiety once ruled. You will see restored relationships where tension once lived. You will see new opportunities rising from places of former disappointment. And you will realize that the soil was watered by tears. The joy ahead will not erase your past sorrow, but it will redeem it. It will give context to what once felt meaningless. It will show you that even in your lowest moments, growth was quietly happening beneath the surface. My beloved child, hold on to hope. When tears come again, because life still carries seasons, remember this truth. They are not wasted. They are seen. They are gathered. They are used for something greater than you can imagine. Your tears have watered your future, and soon you will begin to see the first signs of green pushing through the soil, evidence that what once hurt you is now helping you grow. My beloved child, I am trusting you with more. Not more pressure, not more burdens that crush your spirit, but more influence, more responsibility, more opportunity to reflect my heart in deeper ways. This is not because you are perfect. It is because you have been faithful. Faithfulness in small things prepares you for greater things. There were seasons when your world felt small. The tasks in front of you seemed ordinary, even repetitive. You wondered if you were making progress. You questioned whether your daily consistency mattered. But I was watching how you handled what was already in your hands. You showed up when it was not exciting. You remained steady when it was not glamorous. You continued to care when it would have been easier to become indifferent. That consistency is the foundation of trust. Imagine a steward entrusted with a small garden. If the steward waters it faithfully, removes weeds carefully, and tends it with patience, the owner sees that diligence. Over time, the steward is entrusted with a larger field, not because of ambition but because of reliability. My beloved child, you have been reliable in ways you may not even recognize. You have grown in discernment. You have learned to pause before reacting. You have become more aware of your words and their impact. You have chosen integrity in moments where compromise would have been easier. These quiet choices demonstrate maturity, and maturity invites expansion. With greater influence comes deeper humility. I am not elevating you so that pride may grow. I am expanding your territory so that love may reach further. The more you remain anchored in me, the more you can carry without losing balance. You may sense new desires awakening within you, a stirring to create, to lead, to serve in a broader way. Do not dismiss those stirrings. They are signs that your capacity is increasing. But remember this, expansion does not mean losing your intimacy with me. As you step into more, stay close. Continue to seek my guidance. Continue to protect your heart. The same tenderness that brought you here must remain as you move forward. My beloved child, sometimes you doubt your readiness. You look at yourself and see imperfections. You focus on what you still need to learn. But growth does not require flawlessness. It requires willingness. You have shown willingness. You have been teachable. You have accepted correction without rebellion. You have learned from mistakes instead of denying them. These qualities are far more important than perfection. There will be moments ahead that stretch you, new challenges that require courage, new spaces that feel unfamiliar, but you will not enter them empty-handed. You carry experience. You carry resilience. You carry a history of trust. Think of a tree that has survived many seasons. It has endured storms, droughts, and shifting weather. Because of those experiences, its trunk is strong. Its roots are deep. When new branches begin to grow, the tree can support them. You are that tree. I am trusting you with more because your roots have grown deep in me. Your heart has been refined. Your motives have been examined. Your character has been shaped. Do not shrink back out of fear. Do not say, I am not enough. Say instead, with you, I am prepared. This new season is not about proving yourself. It is about expressing who you have become. My beloved child, as I entrust you with more, remain grateful. Remain humble. Remain attentive. Let every new responsibility be carried with love, not ego. You are ready for what is unfolding. And the reason I can trust you with more is simple. You have already shown me your heart, and that heart has touched mine. My beloved child, stay humble, stay close. As new doors open and new responsibilities come into your hands, there will be a quiet temptation to rely on your own strength again. You will notice growth in yourself. You will see progress. Others may begin to recognize your wisdom, your steadiness, your influence. And while this is not wrong, you must guard your heart gently. Growth is beautiful, but closeness is essential. Remember where your strength was formed. It was formed in surrender. It was shaped in waiting. It was refined in weakness. The confidence you now carry was born from dependence on me. Do not trade that dependence for self-sufficiency. Imagine a branch connected to a vine. As long as it remains attached, it flourishes. It bears fruit naturally. But if it detaches, even for a short time, it begins to dry. The fruit withers. Life source is interrupted. My beloved child, your life flows from connection with me. Staying humble does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means remembering the source of your strength. It means acknowledging that every gift, every opportunity, every insight has been entrusted to you. It means walking forward with gratitude instead of entitlement. There may be moments when praise comes your way. Accept it with grace, but let it pass through you. Do not let it settle as pride. There may be moments when you feel capable and confident. Celebrate growth, but do not forget the one who guided you through every storm. Stay close. Closeness is cultivated intentionally. It is built through quiet moments of reflection, through gratitude in small things, through honest conversations with me about your fears and your hopes, through choosing my wisdom over impulsive reaction. Even as your influence grows, maintain your tenderness. Success can sometimes harden a heart if it is not guarded carefully, but you have already learned the value of softness. Do not lose it. The compassion that carried you through difficulty must remain active as you move into greater spaces. My beloved child, humility protects you. It protects you from comparison. It protects you from arrogance. It protects you from losing sight of what truly matters. When you remain humble, you stay teachable. When you stay teachable, you continue growing. There will always be more to learn, more depth to discover, more refinement to embrace. Growth does not end with promotion. And deepens. Stay close to my voice. The noise around you may increase. Responsibilities may multiply. Opinions from others may grow louder. But my voice remains steady. Make space to hear it. Make space to pause before decisions. Make space to reflect instead of rushing. You do not need to impress anyone. You do not need to prove your worth. Your identity is secure. Your calling is guided. Your path is not dependent on constant striving. My beloved child, as you rise, bow your heart, not in shame, not in fear, but in reverence and gratitude. Let humility anchor you as expansion unfolds. Let intimacy steady you as opportunities increase. When you stay close, you will not lose your way. When you remain humble, your growth will be sustainable. When you guard your heart, your influence will carry love instead of ego. You have come far. You have grown deeply. But the journey continues. Stay humble, stay close. And as you do, you will continue to reflect my heart in every step you take. My beloved child, you are my joy. Pause for a moment and let that settle into the deepest part of you. Not because of what you accomplish, not because of how strong you appear, not because of how well you perform under pressure, simply because you are mine. There is a difference between being valued for what you do and being cherished for who you are. The world often celebrates achievement. It measures worth by productivity and success. But my delight in you is not rooted in performance. It is rooted in relationship. When I look at you, I do not first see your flaws. I see your heart. I see the way you try again after failing. I see the way you care deeply. I see the way you wrestle with decisions because you want to choose what is right. I see your sincerity, even when you feel unsure. And I smile. Imagine a father watching his child take small, unsteady steps. The child stumbles, regains balance, and tries again. The father does not criticize the stumble. He celebrates the effort. He delights in the courage. That is how I see you. My beloved child, you bring me joy when you trust me. You bring me joy when you forgive. You bring me joy when you choose kindness over bitterness. You bring me joy when you whisper my name in quiet moments. But even beyond your choices, your very existence delights me. There have been times when you felt like a burden, when your struggles made you feel heavy, when you wondered if you disappointed me. But I do not grow tired of you. I do not grow weary of your questions. I do not lose patience with your process. Your growth delights me. Your vulnerability delights me. Your desire to stay close delights me. Joy is not always loud laughter. Sometimes it is a quiet, steady warmth. It is the deep satisfaction of seeing someone you love becoming who they were created to be. As you grow, as you heal, as you trust more deeply, my joy over you grows as well. You may struggle to accept this because you are aware of your imperfections. But my love is not fragile. It is not conditional. It is not withdrawn when you stumble. It remains. When you wake up each morning, I am not scanning your life for mistakes. I am walking with you, eager to guide, to support, to strengthen. When you succeed, I celebrate. When you struggle, I draw closer. My beloved child, let yourself receive this truth without resistance. You do not need to earn my joy. You do not need to impress me into loving you. You are already cherished. Imagine carrying this awareness into your daily life. How would you walk differently if you truly believed you were a source of joy? How would you speak differently? How would you face challenges? Confidence rooted in love is different from pride. It is quiet. It is steady. It does not boast, but it does not shrink either. It allows you to move forward without constant self-doubt. My joy over you is not based on perfection. It is based on connection. Stay connected. Stay aware of my delight. Let it silence the voices that say you are not enough. Let it calm the anxiety that tells you you must constantly prove yourself. You are not an obligation. You are not a disappointment. You are not tolerated. You are loved. You are celebrated. You are my joy. And as you continue to grow into the fullness of who you are meant to be, that joy will overflow, touching your life, shaping your path, and reflecting back to me in beautiful ways. My beloved child, remember this moment. There will be days ahead when emotions shift again. Days when confidence feels strong, and days when it feels fragile. There will be victories and there will be challenges. That is the rhythm of life. But I want you to anchor this truth deep within your spirit right now. You touch my heart. Not because you were flawless. Not because you never struggled. But because you kept coming back to me. You kept choosing love. You kept trusting in darkness. You kept surrendering when control felt safer. You kept your heart tender when it would have been easier to harden. When doubt whispers again, and at times it will, return to this truth. When circumstances try to convince you that you are unseen or unimportant, remember what I have spoken over you. When you feel tempted to measure your worth by temporary outcomes, remember the deeper measure, your heart. Think of this moment as a marker placed along your journey, like a stone set beside a path that says, "Here's where you were reminded of who you are." When you walk further down the road and encounter uncertainty, look back at this marker. Remember how far you have come. You are not the same person you were at the beginning of this journey. You have grown in trust. You have grown in humility. You have grown in compassion. The challenges that once overwhelmed you now shape you differently. The fears that once controlled you have loosened their grip. Growth can be subtle, but it is real. There may be moments ahead when you forget your strength, when you focus again on what is missing instead of what has been built. In those moments, pause. Breathe. Recall these words. Recall the tenderness of my voice. Recall the truth that your life has meaning beyond what you can immediately see. My beloved child, do not allow temporary storms to erase permanent promises. Storms pass. Emotions rise and fall. Opportunities come and go. But my love remains steady. My view of you does not shift with circumstances. My delight in you does not fluctuate with performance. If ever you feel lost, return to simplicity. Return to surrender. Return to quiet worship. Return to trust one step at a time. You do not need to solve everything at once. You only need to remain connected. There will be new lessons ahead, new chapters, new responsibilities. But the foundation remains the same. You are known, you are loved, and you have touched my heart. Let this memory strengthen you. When insecurity tries to creep back in, answer it with truth. When comparison tries to distract you, return to your unique path. When fear tries to slow your steps, remember the faith that carried you through darkness before. You are not starting from nothing. You are building on a history of trust. My beloved child, carry this moment like a quiet treasure, not as pride but as assurance, not as pressure but as peace. Let it remind you that your life matters deeply. And as you continue walking forward, hold on to this certainty. The same love that met you here will meet you again and again. You are never beyond my reach. You are never outside my care. Remember this moment. You touched my heart, and that truth will never fade. My beloved child, we have walked through many layers of your heart together. You began this journey wondering if you were seen, wondering if your small acts mattered, wondering if your quiet faith, your hidden tears, your fragile trust had reached me at all. And now you know the truth. You did it. You touched my heart, not through perfection, but through sincerity. Not through grand gestures, but through steady obedience. Not through flawless strength, but through tender trust. Every time you chose love over bitterness, you touched my heart. Every time you refused to quit in the dark, you touched my heart. Every time you surrendered instead of controlling, forgave instead of hardening, worshipped instead of withdrawing, you touched my heart. You are seen. You are known. You are cherished beyond measure. Carry this certainty into your days. When doubt tries to return, answer it with remembrance. When fear rises, anchor yourself in peace. When new doors open, walk through them with humility and confidence. When healing continues, receive it without resistance. You are not walking alone. You are not striving for approval. You are not forgotten in a crowded world. You are my beloved child, and I delight in you. As this message has reached you, it is not meant to stop with you. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link waiting in the description and QR code, you are not funding a video. You are watering souls. You are sowing seeds of light into hearts that feel unseen. As it is written, when you give, it returns to you multiplied, and I declare that promise alive over your life now. When you feel my nudge, say within your spirit, Father, I will answer. This is holy ground, a moment of obedience that opens rivers where there was dryness. Those who give into this work will see peace expand in their homes and strength rise in their spirits. Do not delay when love calls you forward. Step in faith and give as an act of worship. My beloved child, hold this blessing close. May peace guard your mind, may courage guide your steps, may healing continue in your hidden places, and may joy overflow in your life. May you always remember that your heart matters deeply to me. You touch my heart, and I will forever hold you in mind. Amen.